Welcome back to another episode of Mish Mash Men, or M Cubed. Today, you're here with me, Dustin Labar. To my immediate left is Mr. Adam Mauser.
How do you
do? We hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode. It was a nice story that I really enjoyed. We hope you guys are enjoying these new T-shirts that are about to be on sale pretty soon. Yep, they're pretty nice. They're going to be on sale, so keep your eye out. We'll be doing pre-orders, and then you guys can get your first edition Mish Mash Men T-shirts.
And let us know if you're interested in other merchandise, like hats or...
I'd love to do hats.
I want a hat.
Maybe a pipe, a Mish Mash Men pipe.
If no one else wants hats, I'm still buying a hat.
Okay, I'll get one too.
All right.
It'll be awesome. Today, so last week was a little different, and this week is going to be maybe a little, not totally different than what we've done in the past, but a little different. We're going to talk about some fitness things. So the reason I brought this topic up, because me and Adam have known each other for right around 3 years.
About that.
And we met at CrossFit Invigorate.
Yep.
Best CrossFit gym in Huntsville.
It is.
So obviously fitness is a big part of our lives. So I thought it would be interesting, since we both met in the fitness, in the gym, that we could kind of talk a little bit about our history with fitness. Mm-hmm. And then we'll talk about some things that have gone on with fitness and health, in recent years. So I know Adam was in the military, so he certainly has at least a little bit of a history with fitness. So, a little bit. Yeah. So if you want to, you can start with like high school sports or whatever you want. Just kind of tell us your history with fitness.
Yeah. So I'm in the Army for about a little over 20 years. Most of that was as a pilot, and fitness was not like the premium that you brought to the table.
Did you have to do like yearly re-ups for your fitness as a pilot?
Yeah, you had to do a physical fitness test, and I did okay. I wasn't super. Like when I first came in the Army, I was an infantry guy, and fitness is prized in that realm, especially like running and ruck marching or road marching.
Okay. And
just being able to handle a heavy rucksack or a heavy backpack, if you will. For long periods of time, so you get good at bearing a bunch of weight on your shoulders, and walking a long way. And I was in a organization or a type of unit called a light infantry unit. It wasn't light, was in the amount of stuff that you had with you. In other words, heavy infantry would be like guys that rode around in Bradley fighting vehicles.
Gotcha.
And so this was all like light infantry, so little infrastructure. So your conveyance was your feet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Minimal impact and you don't need gas.
Yep. Okay.
You just need food and water.
Yep. And
the water you can get on the way. The food you got to either bring with you or catch it.
Or catch it and kill it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So a lot of running early on in my career, a lot of running. So I got good at running, and I was a little fella back then.
Okay.
Tall, big giant head like I still have. It's like 2 foot around, no kidding. 72 or it's 2 foot around.
Giant head.
Yeah. With little narrow skinny shoulders, real scrawny, still scrawny. But I could run okay.
Okay. And
then a lot of running, a lot of ruck marching, push-ups, sit-ups, and we would do other events and stuff like that. I was in this top squad when we were deployed to Somalia. And each out of the battalion that was there, so you're talking 400 people. Mm-hmm. Each company had a little squad that the company would form out of about 100 of those guys. Okay. And so I got picked to be on this top squad, and it's like how fast you can run with like everybody carrying a rope while you're running.
Oh, yeah.
A rope run, which is harder than it sounds. Max push-ups for that team in a certain amount of time, max pull-ups, max all this stuff. So I was kind of like always at the forefront and the peak. Mm-hmm. Used to a lot of cardiovascular. Now I'm 53. Cardiovascular efficiency is just not what it used to be.
Right.
Like our workout today was like completely dusted me. Yeah. I was just completely spent.
I think it was everybody too, not just you.
Well, I just feel bad. And the funny thing is, like most of the people I'm working out with are like in their 30s. Mm-hmm. At the oldest. And so I feel like when I see everybody like hurting, I feel like I'm hurting way worse than you guys are. I feel like it. Because I used to I used to be the guy come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
And I can't say that anymore.
Yeah, now you're like, hold on.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get my cane.
Yeah, I'm more of a rest guy.
So then, fast forward several years, I just kind of stayed in decent shape. A lot of calisthenics, lots of cardiovascular stuff like running throughout my time in the Army. Some weightlifting every once in a while, especially on deployments, do some heavy weightlifting. But then I retired and started to get a little flabby. Gotcha. And Jennifer found a Groupon, sent me on my way to this CrossFit gym, and here we go.
So you were at CrossFit before it was Invigorate, before it was Golden Ape. You were at the original one here, correct? Yeah. Which was it
Xiphos. It was like a small sword.
So you found a Groupon, and Jen was like, hey, maybe you should think about.
So there's this funny video, and I would show it now, but I was wrestling around with the kids. This is our new place that we just moved to.
Oh, perfect.
And I was wrestling around with our newborn. This was child number 7. Uh-huh. And he's a tiny little thing, and he's wrestling with his dad, and somebody's got an iPad in their video and the whole thing. And my daughter, Rebecca, she was probably 3 or 4 or whatever. And my belly is like hanging out of the T-shirt. Yeah. And she like very daintily like takes and moves the T-shirt while Josh was jumping on me. And I was like, yeah, maybe I ought to do something about that.
I better get back in shape.
And Jennifer wanted to do it's a mud run type of thing called the Tough Mudder.
Yep, I've done.
She wanted to do that. And she's like, hey, maybe we could do this together. So, we started coming together on this Groupon, and that's how I did not want to get into the CrossFit thing.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't need another set of friends. I don't need that.
Yeah.
It's cultish.
Yeah.
I don't want any of that.
You're not wrong.
I'm good.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
And but once you start, then you see the value that sense of community brings.
Sure.
That brings you back. And now I just love it. In fact, I stopped for a little bit and then came back.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. I love when people kind of come into it. It does work. It also it's
effective.
It's effective, but it also is
if you have good coaches.
Good coaches, and because any fitness program is your effort, and it's a lot harder to give poor effort in a group class, a group setting like CrossFit.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people in it. So the people that aren't going to thrive in that leave anyway. So the people that kind of stick with CrossFit tend to do better because they're motivated. People like give them crap, pick it up, go, whatever, right. Blah, blah, blah. So it is the camaraderie. It's the team. You do have to deal with, although as you get older into CrossFit, you have to kind of put your foot down and be like, I'm not making any more friends. Anybody else that walks in the store, I can't be friends with them. That's kind of just the way it goes. So
there are limits.
Yeah. But if you come to CrossFit Invigorate, we will be your friend, just to be clear.
For a certain amount of time.
3 to 4 weeks, and then we're going to have to send you on your way. Yeah. I'm at maximum capacity. So for me, you probably heard my story.
Well, let's hear it.
And
this is a great story.
If you're friends with me, I've surely have told you this story. So I was always heavy set, always. Even I remember vividly being like in 5th or 6th grade and being like, oh, when do you realize that you're like, oh, I'm fat, and you're like, oh, but I never did. So I played some sports. Never really got into anything crazy. I played lacrosse in high school and I was pretty good at that. But I never lost weight. I kind of just always was. I thought it was like a thing. Obviously I was eating terrible. I'd finish lacrosse practice and be like, better have 4 sodas.
Yeah, so, I'm thirsty.
Yeah. Whew, no water, please. Yeah,
I need some Coke.
I need the sugar. So I started getting so after I graduated high school, I wasn't doing any of the high school sports anymore, and I wasn't doing anything. Mm-hmm. So then I was just I was eating, drinking, and I used to smoke back then. So I was just a nightmare of a person, the worst. And I got into college, and when you're heavy set, I don't know if you know, but when you're heavy set, you're embarrassed. It's kind of like a rough thing. It's, I had my good group of friends, but you'd go to classes that you didn't know people, and it was kind of embarrassing. And it was always a uncomfortable situation.
Right.
And I always wanted to get in shape, but it's hard. It is hard when you've not done something. It's hard to get into it's a routine. You have to get.
Plus, you've got to learn new skills, and so you're embarrassed by that ignorance.
For sure, 100%. So I was doing all the wrong stuff, drinking every night, smoking, doing all the terrible stuff. And then but I was always big into. So you hear me talk about the UFC all the time.
Right.
I was always big into the UFC, even when I would like to watch it. It started in high school. I would always watch it, and I was always like, I'm going to do that someday. Someday I'm going to do that. But I never did it, obviously. And I was having a really hard time in school, in college. I wasn't motivated. and I had loved watching the UFC. And then I got a letter in the mail from our local gym, and they had opened an MMA program.
Oh, nice.
So they were like,
so mixed martial arts.
So they're like, we're starting mixed martial arts. My story is much longer than yours. I'm sorry. So mixed martial arts. So I like I was like, this has to be a sign. Legitimately, I saw that, and I was like, this must be a sign. I have to go try it.
Right.
So at this point, I'm 5'9". I'm still the same height. I might be a little taller now and better looking. I'm 5'9". Clearly. 5'9", and I was about 275 pounds. So I was a big boy.
Yeah. That is really impressive.
I was a big boy. So
no, it's impressive. Like looking at you now, I'm like, yeah, there's no way.
Most people, when I tell them, they don't believe me. So I do have a picture that I've cropped together. So because people, after it happened, you'll hear the end of the story, but after I got in shape, people were like, I don't believe you. And I would be like, well, here's literally a picture of me, because it was just easier to pull it up and be like, I told you it was. I don't tell the story much anymore now, but so I go into this MMA gym. I'm super embarrassed and nervous because most of the guys in there are in shape.
Right.
And they were doing, they've been doing karate or whatever. And most of them were in shape. So then, I found out pretty quickly that the reason I was smoking and drinking is because I have what you call an addictive personality.
Uh-huh.
So when I found MMA, it was like, this is what I do now. Because I was bigger than a lot of the guys. So sometimes bigger means you think that you're better because you're able to use your body weight more. So I was like, I'm pretty good at this. So now I'm like super motivated. I'm like, oh man. So I'm still in college, and I have like a job, but it's not like a real job. I'm just like working. So any moment that I'm not in school or at the job, I'm at the gym. Mm-hmm. I'm either working out, and just like, I didn't really know how to work out at that point. I was just doing normal like gym stuff. I was like on an elliptical.
So is there anything else in your life, like a steady girlfriend? You hadn't met Lori yet.
No, I hadn't met Lori yet. I did have a girlfriend, but she didn't care if I was heavy or not heavy. It was whatever. So that's not what motivated me. Like, it was just this crazy thing that just kind of like got into my brain. And once it was there, it was like, so I was in the gym.
So that's your identity.
Yeah. Now,
that's awesome.
Now I fight MMA. That's like what I do now.
Yeah.
So I'm like in the gym for hours and hours. So I will go, the gym is tied to a normal gym. The MMA gym is tied. So I'm in this part of your membership. So I'm in the gym working out. Then class starts. I go down and take the class. And then I go back up to the gym and I work out. And it's all just to try to get into this MMA thing. So it's mostly a striking gym, a little bit of jujitsu, it wasn't really jujitsu, it was grappling, we'll call it.
So you've never had any other formal training in any of the like martial arts? This is just zero. Purely MMA.
Yep. I started MMA at a karate gym, which was the guy that owned it was a semi-professional kickboxer. So we were kickboxing heavy. Our team was kickboxing heavy with some jujitsu and some grappling. So I start doing this and I start losing weight like fast.
I bet.
Like I'm crushing it. So
are you watching your diet, or is it just purely
I'm eating good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm eating clean. I'm not drinking. I obviously quit smoking. I'm not drinking. My friends are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I won't have a sip of alcohol. This is what you don't understand. This is what I do now. This is my identity. So I'm in the gym constantly. I'm always fighting. I'm always grappling. It also solved a lot of my anger issues that I had. Like, cause you're angry when you're that heavy. Like, it's just like you're upset.
Plus you're an intense personality.
Yes,
so
I am an intense personality. Yeah. So now,
not in a bad way.
It's chilled me out.
Yeah,
it's chilled me out. Like outside of the gym, I'm a much more relaxed person. So I give all my energy in the gym. I get down to about 200 pounds. So I've lost 75 pounds.
That's
maybe 8 months. I mean, it was falling off me.
Yeah.
So my coach, and I want to preface this for people that are listening, my coach was terrible. I left the gym and he was a terrible coach. So he looks at me and he's like, man, you're 5'9", huh? And I was like, uh-huh. He's like, you need to get a fight at 155. So I've already lost 75 pounds.
Yeah.
And
in 8 months.
Yeah, in 8 months. He's like, there's a fight coming up in 3 months. Do you think you can lose 45 pounds? And I'm like 100%. I was like, easy day. So
how old are you at this time? 23?
22, 23.
Yeah, you can do anything then.
So I'm like,
just like, tell me to do it.
So now I'm razor focused. Now I know what I want to do. And now I'm like, I got to do it.
Chicken and rice.
So yeah, it's chicken and rice. I mean, I'm like watching my diet like crazy. I'm already practicing weight cutting. Like I'm kind of getting in the habit of it.
Yeah. That's an ugly scene.
So it's not good. So like 4 weeks out, I'm 175, 180. I'm like, oh, I'm going to make it. I'm going to freaking make it. So I'm training hard. I do all the stuff.
How was your endurance? Could you tell your endurance was diminishing at that point?
I'll be honest with you. I was so out of shape that I probably didn't even notice. Like I was in so much better shape that
right.
I don't even think that I think it was all just an escalation of my fitness. So like even though I was losing that weight, every little bit I was like, I was so
indeterminate.
Like my conditioning at that point was so different level. Like you couldn't tire me out. Like I would go through all these training sessions, like breeze through it.
Well, plus you're at that age where that efficiency is pretty much peak.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was like in my prime. So I'm a striker at this point. So I've lost this weight. I'm now the day before my fight, I'm 157 pounds. So I'm going to make weight. I'm going to suck 2 pounds of water weight for sure. I'm shredded, but I'm skinny. Like I don't have a lot of muscle mass because I went from very heavy to very skinny. So I didn't hold a lot of muscle mass. That's not a lot of time to build muscle.
No.
So we were.
So the time delta from when you were 270 to now
150 to 155 to when I fought in less than a year is 11 months. So it was too much. It was too fast. That's why I said it was the worst coach ever because he was also my fitness trainer. So I'm very confident in my striking. But I was beating guys on the grappling in our gym. Like I would submit people often, but I had never really been tested. So I was really confident in my striking. I was like, nobody's even going to take me down. Like my striking's too good. Nobody's going to hit me. I'm going to hit them. So we walk into the fight. And I'm like, this guy's about to get lit up. So the first thing is
confidence of a 23-year-old.
My coach does no research on this guy. He's like, he has 0 fights.
That's a great coach.
So he's like, you have 0 fights. This guy has 0 fights. He's like, it's easy. And I was like, okay. He's like, you're going to light this dude up. Okay, great. So I walk in into the cage and the guy gets in with me and he's twice the size of me. He is huge. And I look back at my coach and I was like, he weighed in. I was like, is this the right guy?
Yeah.
He was huge. Well, it turned out he was a Division I wrestler. So he'd been cutting weight his whole life. Like he would cut weight but he was huge.
Like D1 school wrestler.
D1 school wrestler.
Oh yeah.
So he actually went and fought Bellator after he fought me. So Bellator was like one step under the UFC. So, but I'm still like, I'm going to light this dude up.
Yeah, you're going to strike him.
I'm going to light this dude up.
Yeah. Watch out.
So I hit him, I hit him with a low kick, jab combo. And when I tell you he picked me up, walked me across the cage and slammed me on my head almost immediately. Like I didn't even hit him with anything.
Yeah.
Beat me up for the first round. My coach is like, you can't let him hit you that much. And I was like, okay, cool. Thanks
That's
for that.
Good tips right there.
I was like, perfect. I will try to put that into play. But it's also my first
write that
fight.
down.
So first, it's my first fight. So it's like chaos. Like he's telling me like, don't let him hit you so much. And I was like, well, how do I not? Yeah, so this dude,
I'm trying.
This dude beats me up. He beats me up.
Was it just on the ground and he was just wearing
He picked me up the second round. I never even tried to, like he bull rushed me. Like he was like, this dude can't stop me from taking him down. I'm going to take him down.
He's probably just rolling you like an alligator.
Yeah, he just grabbed a hold of me all the rounds. That's what he did. So he beats me handedly. It wasn't close. I hit him a couple times, but it really wasn't anything. Came to find out that he had like 10 fights in North Carolina, but the fights don't carry over to Pennsylvania as an amateur. So he was 0-0 as in Pennsylvania, but he was 10-0 in North Carolina.
Plus a D1 wrestler.
Yeah, so he was pretty good.
That's no joke.
So I came back from that, and now my personality is now I am going to be the best ground fighter you've ever seen. Right. Now this is what I do now. So I don't even do MMA now.
BJJ then, right?
Yeah, so I leave that school. I go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academy. Really high, like I found the best one in the area, went and trained with these dudes, did some grappling tournaments, like that's what I did. Nobody was ever going to beat me on the ground again. That was kind of the way it was. So as I'm at this jiu-jitsu gym, I'm very skinny still. So like I have like 0 muscle mass. So in this jiu-jitsu gym, everybody keeps talking about WODs. They're like, did you do the WOD today? And they're like, yeah. So I'm like, what are these guys talking about? And they're like, oh, it only took me 4 minutes. And I was like, 4 minutes is not even a workout. And like, I'm like, this is stupid. So they were like, why don't you come try it? And I went, so I was like, I'll try. Dude, I'm in incredible shape. I'm going to put all you guys to shame. I mean, I've never been so embarrassed in my entire life. Like because I have like this, I went from very heavy to, so I have like a lot of confidence.
Right. And you're young.
And I'm like, I'm going to be the best guy when I walk into this gym. Everybody's going to be in awe of me.
The confidence of an early 20s man is unstoppable.
Nobody's in awe of me. They're like, this guy sucks. And that's how I got motivated to CrossFit. But like really the main reason why is they were like, let's test your 1 rep max deadlift. And I was like, let's do this thing, man. I'll show you guys a thing or two.
Take notes.
I deadlifted 315. And
That's not bad.
And I drop it, and I'm like, that's probably the most weight these guys have ever seen. They're probably in awe. And there's literally a girl deadlifting the same weight as me. And I was like, how much is that? And she was like 315. And I was like, what? And the guy, like the coach, he was like, that's not very much weight for a guy. And I was like, oh my God. So now I'm like, now I'm like, all I do is CrossFit now. So
right.
I like,
you're a CrossFit guy.
That's when I like, you can tell that my personality is like, if I'm not good at something, all of a sudden, like I'm uber focused on that. And that's how I kind of got there. So I became, I really got into CrossFit, into coaching it. And I do jujitsu now, even still like back and forth. Like I kind of like mellowed out a little bit with that stuff as I got older.
Yeah.
I can kind of direct my energy a little bit better. I don't have energy for everything nor the time for everything, but that's kind of how I got to where I am today. So I still do CrossFit. It's a big part of my life.
Let me add this. So
Sure.
so this isn't just haphazard stuff. Like you put your all into it and you like study it and you master it.
Yeah.
Dusty's one of the best CrossFit coaches that we've got.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You have a coach that teaches technical skills, but it's how you approach someone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key to coaching.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So whenever he's approaching me, I know, okay, well, I'm getting ready to get some learning's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm ready. But his approach is very good. So
I appreciate that.
I just want to share that with you because I don't think I've ever said that.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I put a lot of effort into coaching. I was a full-time coach in Pennsylvania before we left for Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
From the story from last week. I was a full-time coach. I put a lot of effort into that, a lot of training, a lot of certifications. Unfortunately, full-time CrossFit coach doesn't pay as much as you'd hope, unless you own a gym or you're in some kind of crazy. And I was working at the biggest gym on the East Coast as a coach.
East Coast.
Mm-hmm. We were, I don't want to lie, we were 25,000 square foot facility.
Wow, that's
a CrossFit
impressive.
gym.
Yeah,
but he had opened the gym. He was a Marine Corps sniper. He had some money that his parents had given him, and he opened the first CrossFit gym in the area. So he
was ground floor.
So
right?
he was so everybody that wanted to do CrossFit. So he had like hundreds and hundreds of members.
Yeah.
So he had like at that point he wasn't coaching very much. He hired a staff of coaches.
Right.
So he didn't have to do anything.
That's a good deal.
But it still doesn't pay that much.
No.
Because he's like, if you don't want to do it, I can still do it. I don't have to pay you a lot of money.
Right.
I don't have to do so. I'm literally just paying you to make my life easier. So fitness is still a big part of my life now. I haven't really dropped. Obviously, it's a big part of yours. You come every day. I come every day. So these are things that I find super important. So that's how I met Laura, coaching CrossFit. So I literally met my wife and the mother of my daughter at CrossFit. So it's definitely a big part of my life. I've met most of my you, Mabry, Caleb, all my best friends. I've all met them through CrossFit. So, fitness in general. And because it's one of those things where you have similar interests or similar drives. So generally speaking, people that do CrossFit have a certain personality, in my opinion, generally speaking. There are some exceptions, but there's a lot of successful people in this gym.
Yeah.
And the fact that you do something very difficult every day, because it's easy, you could just definitely go to Planet Fitness and just do nothing and just say you're working out, but there is something that you're actually going in and doing it. So with that being said, I thought I would bring up some fitness trends that are fads. So things that don't hang.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think CrossFit's a fad.
There are aspects of it that are faddish.
For sure.
Without a doubt. But the idea of difficult workouts,
yes,
and a communal interest, that's a winner.
And people are like doing offshoots of it. So I don't know.
Sure.
That it's not a fad. It's a brand, and there are other brands of the same thought process of high intensity interval training with a group and to try to do all that stuff. So
this is just a much more mature one.
Yes. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about some of these fitness trends that you've probably heard about, and I definitely have.
Perhaps.
I actually had one of these. I'm about to tell you. Bowflex home gym.
I remember the Bowflex.
So for those of you that are maybe too young to remember, they had these flexible rods.
Yeah.
And you could hook them with cables, and you could bench press or bicep curl. But it took up like the most space in your house.
It's just resistance training.
It's resistance training, but it's like this. I don't even know what they were made of. So I guess metal that was like thin metal that was flexible, but they had some kind of weight tied onto it. Like if you hooked the two thicker ones, it was 100 pounds or whatever. But it took up a lot of space. But it was around for a while.
It was.
I don't think people have them now. I don't know anybody that has them.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it
Like,
lately.
I think if somebody said, I'm going to go home and hit the Bowflex, I may make fun of them.
Let me get my members only jacket.
Yeah.
I'm the only member.
I'm the only member. This one's funny. Tae Bo,
Yeah, I remember Tae Bo.
Billy Blanks.
Yeah.
I mean, that was karate. He was just like, it was like
basically
karate conditioning.
just cardiovascular health.
This is from I'm going to guess the 60s. And it's so funny that people thought this works. Vibrating belt.
Yes.
So they would strap it around, I guess, their problem areas. It didn't have to be a specific hips.
It's usually the
butt.
core somewhere.
Yeah, this lady's got it on her inner thigh, her butt. Actually, this one lady has it on her bicep. I don't even know, but so basically, it would just vibrate.
There are variations of that on infomercials I've seen.
For sure.
Like
The
vibrating things, and then there's the
muscle stimulators.
muscle stimulator, yeah.
Those couldn't work less. I mean, I don't even know why people think that. I mean, that to me is funny. They're like, for 4 easy payments of $487, you can do nothing. People are like, I don't even have to eat right. I just sit at my desk and put this on and 6-pack. And you're like, all right, dude, clearly you work out. You're not just sitting at home. Body by Jake. Do you remember him?
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, Body by Jake. He was just like, he just had like some videos, I would guess, like some.
He sold videos. I think he was on TV for a little bit, but his big sell, like how he was making money, was selling videos.
Selling videos, yeah. That was like
after the VHS craze.
I was just gonna say, like in the 90s, people got hooked on home video workouts because I don't know if it was because the VHS was so easy.
80s. It started in the 80s.
and then 80s and
Richard
90s.
Simmons.
Richard Simmons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, not the guy from Kiss. That's Gene Simmons.
That is Gene Simmons.
Richard Simmons was sweating to the oldies.
That was later on. So he had a whole thing, kind of like Body by Jake.
Okay.
But Richard Simmons was a big.
Is he still alive?
There is something goofy about Richard Simmons.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, there are several goofy things, but he had a whole, like something happened, like he might have got taken advantage of or something.
By like a business manager or something?
Yeah, something like that.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
The Thigh Master.
I remember the Thigh Master.
I mean, people were
Suzanne
Summers. She was a she was like, what do you call them back? Not a guy was a heartthrob. What do you call them when they were like bombshells?
Yeah.
But she was like, she was like
Crush.
Yeah, like a sex staple.
Yeah, with her stint on Three's Company. That's what started it.
Three's Company, and then she had that show in the 90s, Step by Step, with Patrick Duffy, Duffy, which I used to watch when I was a kid. It was a great show.
I didn't watch that show, but I was a fan of hers from Three's Company.
Yes,
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, she was. You're like, all right. We need to get 5 of these Thigh Masters. We got to support Suzanne Summers. So you just, for those of you listening that don't know what it is, you can look it up. But it's like
it's a spring.
It's a spring that you put between your legs, and you just like squeeze it.
Yeah.
And you squeeze it. I mean, I might do it now. Sounds like it might help my hip.
It might add some value.
Yeah. Jane Fonda videos.
Yes, Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda videos.
Not a fan of Jane Fonda.
You're not a fan of her?
No.
Why is that?
Her association with the North Vietnamese.
Oh, I didn't. What is this?
Oh, okay.
She's associated with the North Vietnamese?
So during the Vietnam War, she went over to the North Vietnamese and was like filmed, like being with the North Vietnamese while they were shooting down American.
Oh my God!
Airplanes. Yeah,
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'll just leave it at that.
She in 2010 she released a new DVD. So people are still. You know what? My new thing is to make sure she never makes another video.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Did you ever see the movie Along Came Polly? Not Along Came Polly. There's Something About Mary.
Oh, yeah. I've seen Something About Mary.
So 8-minute abs.
We're talking Gorgonzola, not Brie.
Yeah. 7-minute abs. Everything comes in sevens. So 8-minute abs.
That's a great line.
I remember this vividly, but 8-minute abs, they were literally like, all you have to do for
8 minutes,
one time a day, is just do some crunches and stuff, and you'll be jacked, dude. You don't have to eat right. It's just unbelievable.
My cousin memorized that speech that he gave when he just kind of lost it in the car. The 7-minute abs guy.
What if somebody comes up with 6-minute abs?
We're talking 7 drawers.
Yeah, not 6, 7. 7's the magic number. Let's watch that before we leave. I'll have to pull that up. Funny. Roller skating / rollerblading.
Okay, so rollerblading was big in the 80s, mid to late 80s, and in the 90s for sure.
Yeah.
My grandfather, so he was born in the 20s.
Okay.
He could roller skate, like dance roller skate.
This.
Yes. And I didn't know, so I grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Right.
And we would go early 80s. That was like a big time. Like Mom would drop us off at the roller skating rink, and we would go, skate around they play video games, the arcade video games. My grandpa was going to take us, and he used to skate. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just like a 12 or 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
So he puts on these skates, and my at the time, he was probably in his early 60s.
Okay.
He gets out, and he is like literally dancing up a storm, like legit, not like, some old guy dancing. He was like legitimately dancing around, and I could not do that.
Yeah.
I mean, look at me. I'm rigid and awkward, just a weirdo.
Yeah.
And my grandpa's just dancing up a storm. It was like amazing. It was absolutely
It's like
amazing.
a secret he had that he couldn't explain to people. So when he got the chance to show you, he was like, this is the time.
He was quite the man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know who else can rollerblade or roller skate?
I'm sure James
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, James can. We should probably try to get a video of him roller skating.
James is James has a lot of attributes that I desire, but I will never get, like the dancing and the roller skating.
You and James are, in terms of like things that surprise people, you're like, dang, what? Why can you do that? And you're just like, I don't know. I've been doing it since I was 7. You're like, what are you talking about? There was actually a guy I knew. He started CrossFit. I coached his first class, and they were working on handstand walks. And I was like, he was very fit. It's not like he was like this, like he was shredded, but he never did CrossFit. And I was like, don't worry about handstand walks. You can practice around with it, but don't worry about it. So he flips up on his hands and walks like farther than everybody. And I was like, well, he's like, I grew up on a farm. I was like, what does that have to do with walking on your hands? He's like, that's what we did on the farm. You just walk on your hands places.
Yeah.
I've seen many farms. I grew up in a rural Pennsylvania. I've never seen anybody walk on their hands.
Just like bored that. And like, hey, let me try this.
He's like, I bet you I can walk on my hands. This is one I never had, but if the opportunity presented itself, like if I was in a store that had it, I would buy it just for fun. The shake weight.
The shake weight.
The shake weight is probably, in my opinion, the worst fitness invention ever.
It is.
Next to the vibrating belts.
I don't know. The Thigh Master is pretty bad too.
The Thigh Master, but at least it's not like, I mean, the shake weight's pretty bad.
It is bad.
I mean, so if you've never seen it, Google it. I'm sure there's great videos on it, but it's exactly what it sounds like. You just shake this weight with your hands, but it really only works your arms.
It's arms and maybe shoulders.
I guess. Maybe. I remember the video, the guy's like doing this, but he's like, it's chest workout. And you're like, come on, man. That's clearly not working out your chest. This is one that I think probably happened people got motivated to try it in the early middle 2000s, was like diet pills.
Oh yeah, diet pills were bad. They were in the 80s also.
They were in the 80s as well. Because
Yeah.
I remember like hydroxycut, and there was one that got banned because it was like, they were like, this is meth, but it was like legal meth. I forget the name of it. They banned it from a bunch of supplements.
Yeah.
The NCAA had banned it, and it was like, well, this is just meth. You guys can't take this. But people were taking it and like stockpiling it because they were like, this stuff works incredibly. It's like, my teeth are falling out, but
that's okay. But I'm so skinny.
I fit in these jeans better than I've ever fit in my.
Yeah,
in my
diet
entire
pills
life.
in the 80s, mid to late 80s at least. It might have been before that, but all they were just metabolizing drugs that you would take, that you just burn off this energy, these calories, and the long-term effects, who knows? Yeah. I mean, clearly your liver's affected.
Yes, 100%.
And then all the other stuff, who knows?
It's so funny that people just take a handful of pills. There was like some thought that even if there was a pill that could, like, if you were like, this pill is effective and safe, if you take it, you'll lose weight, that some people still wouldn't do it. Like they still wouldn't be like, they're like, I have to take it every day. Like there's still like that attitude where you'd be like, every day, don't you have a pill that I can just take one time?
Yeah.
So, but like I remember people being like, dude, hydroxycut, if you take hydroxycut, don't eat any food, and get on the elliptical, you lose like a lot of weight. It's like, but you have so much energy because it's basically just meth.
What was, so hydroxycut was basically...
it's whatever that band's, so I think hydroxycut had to change their formula because they had that whatever, I can look it up later, but I should have looked it up.
Whatever the drug is.
Whatever that drug was, they all had it in it. And, but I mean, it had a ton of bad,
components.
Well, it had a ton of bad reactions. So when they were doing studies, they had to like kind of rechange the formula.
Yeah.
Because, people were having heart attacks and, that kind of stuff. I remember this one, the ab roller.
Yeah, the ab
So
roller.
they were like 10 minutes a day. You just do this a couple times. It was for people that couldn't do a normal sit-up. They were like, this is a sit-up, but easier. It'll make you shredded.
Abs are made in the kitchen.
Then we had the video game, We Fit.
Oh, yeah.
So that was like the video game's entrance into, and now obviously they have like Oculus, which you can which will make you sweat. Have you tried the Oculus yet?
I haven't.
I mean, the boxing game, I mean, you'll sweat. It's pretty crazy.
I'm apprehensive about that VR.
VR?
Stuff. Not that I don't trust it.
Yeah.
It's just I don't.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that it's pretty terrible for underdeveloped brains or young minds.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Because I think you could easily get addicted to it. However, the current model they have out now only has a 2-hour battery life. So I think if they extend that, people are going to go absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have to take it off because the battery's dead, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if you'll ever going to stop. And they're doing stuff now where it's like, do you want to see a stand-up comedy show on your VR headset? It's like, no. Why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
A bunch of freaking nerds. Boot camps, which still happen today.
Yeah.
But that was like no different than like a CrossFit. People just like had the idea.
Yeah, it's just like a group fitness thing. Not a bad thing. Most of these, some of those things are just not bad.
They're not bad. They're not. I wouldn't call that a fad in terms of like it's a bad fad. It was just it was
something
very popular. Pilates, which I don't know if it's a fad. Some people with Pilates, man, their core strength is unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable. The Nordic track.
Oh, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I always wanted my mom to get one so I could play on it, but I never would have done it.
The marketing on that was unreal. It was very effective.
Everywhere you turned, there was a commercial for Nordic track, and you were like, man.
You know, I saw these very sophisticated looking people, like, and very fit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I need that Nordic track.
You're like, all you do.
Have you ever cross country skied?
Never, but it looks impossible.
It is hard.
It looks so difficult.
It is hard. I did that in upstate New York, and it is a workout. It is a cardiovascular nightmare.
It looks like the hardest thing I've ever seen because you're like, I mean, you're like climbing on skis. It's terrible.
It is such a leg and glute and core workout, and in shoulders too, because you're just doing it all. But especially because you're engaging all of that muscle mass.
Surely you have to use your arms to help you along. Like
they're more guiding you, and some propelling. It's just like the skier that we have out here. It's mostly a glute,
like hip driven
and hip. I'm sorry, not hip, but hamstring and quad thing, because you're engaging all of it to be effective as you glide along. It is. So
I've seen it, and I've people will be like, "Oh, it's just cross country skiing." It looks
it is
very
hard.
difficult. Cleansing and juicing.
Oh my gosh!
I think people still do that now.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
that's
just
so
like,
bad.
I just don't eat for 12 days, and I just have one juice a day, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Here we go. I knew this was on the list. Sweating to the Oldies with Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened to him. I need to look into it. Because, I mean, he was like a fitness icon.
He was, and that came from, I think he was on, as I was thinking about it, there was a show back on the early 80s called Real People.
Okay.
And I think that's where he kind of got his start, maybe. Real People was kind of like I don't know. It was a bunch of comedians and pseudo-reporters that had special interest stories about this kind of person that did such and such. And I think Richard Simmons kind of got his start on there. Then he got on the morning shows.
Gotcha.
And he had this whole fitness craze that he was started. And then later on, a second evolution of his, which was this sweating to the oldies.
Gotcha. Because he was heavy, right? And
he was a fat guy, lost a lot of weight, and by doing aerobic exercise. So aerobic exercise as opposed to anaerobic.
Mm-hmm.
So he was big into keeping that threshold where you could keep your breath and still be able to talk. And the idea is that you are at that threshold before you go to anaerobic, you're at aerobic, and then you can still consume those calories.
Spinning, obviously still.
Spin classes.
That's a very hard workout. I've done it multiple times.
It's a fad.
Yeah, it's a fad.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorites. You ever see the toning shoes? They're like, it's unstable, so your butt's going to get like a crazy workout.
Toning shoes. I haven't seen that.
So they're like,
it's gold.
They're like rounded on the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, you could buy them as like regular.
So you're going to break your ankle.
It's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so but women would be like, I just wore these and walked around, and I mean, look at my butt. I think the results speak for themselves.
As a fiddle.
Yeah. They're like, are you running or anything? Nope.
Just walking in these awkward shoes.
Just sitting in my chair with these shoes on, and it's bingo.
And my ab roller.
Yeah, my ab roller. I got the ab belt. I just
shake weight,
shake weight,
and the odd shape shoes.
We should get a bunch of those and do them all at the same time, like the shake weight,
I will not do a shake weight, but I will do the odd shoes and the ab roller.
how about the Thigh Master?
Thigh Master. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Well, I'll see. I'm sure they have it on Amazon.
If the viewers want to see this, let us know.
We'll do it. You think we won't do it? I'll do the shake weight too. I'm not scared. Sauna suits.
Oh yeah.
So I used to do those when I was cutting weight.
Yeah, that's a wrestler's trick.
Yep, that's a nightmare. I don't know what that is. Power balance bracelets.
Bracelet.
Yeah, I guess.
How can a bracelet be a workout?
It can't. It can't. That's a lie.
Is it copper? It's like a copper in it.
Yeah, Tommy Copper. So now I thought I'd go over really quick. So fitness and diets, just a couple minutes. We'll go over. I only have a couple of these crazy ones because they're so funny. Crazy diets that have been like for fitness, and then everybody wants to get on a diet. So the first one is a clay diet. You ever hear of this?
Okay, so I've heard of some clay, like diatomaceous earth, that type.
So they would put bentonite clay into their drink.
Yeah.
And then they would drink.
Yeah,
dirt.
I've heard of that.
They would drink dirt.
Yeah.
And they would be like, I'm fit now.
I'm fit.
I'm so sexy. I just drank dirt. I don't know if this is true. If this is not real, I'm going to, it needs to be
I
real.
can see it already, and I'm
Okay, so the air diet.
Yeah.
So the thought
I'm on the air diet.
The thought is
I don't know
that
if you noticed.
if you take a spoon with nothing and put it in your mouth, that you're like, that would have been chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
And so your brain is like, oh, did we just eat chocolate ice cream?
Think system, you're tricking your brain.
But whoever sold this is a genius, because they're like, what if we just told people to eat with forks and spoons? But
for a mere $49.95, I will show you how to do the air diet.
For sure, it's a book, and it's like it's like this guy's backstory of how he lost all this weight, and they're like, you too can also not eat.
The air diet.
The tapeworm diet.
So you swallow a literal tapeworm?
I believe. Yeah. So it says it right here. They would give you a pill, and in the pill resides a tapeworm, and then you take the pill.
How do you get rid of the tapeworm?
Well, the old wives' tale is that you open your mouth over a bowl of milk, and the thing will come out into it. But surely they have, oh my God. Surely they have a way to get it out. It doesn't say in this article, but people did do it. Is that not amazing?
So when was this?
I mean, it doesn't say a time, but I mean, oh wait. Oh my Lord. A tapeworm can grow up to 55 feet long. Did you know this?
I knew they could be big. I don't know about 55 feet.
They can live for 25 years. My Lord.
But that lives in your large intestine, doesn't it?
I think it.
Small intestine, but large intestine.
Yeah. Yep.
A bowl of milk.
Yeah. I mean, that's the old wives' tale.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know if that's actually true or not. So, oh shoot. So this was not on it, but I thought that it would be a fun one to end on. It was like a conspiracy. So this is what we'll end on. But the low fat diet, which was like in the 90s. No, it started in the 60s, where the sugar, I don't know who the sugar companies are, but whoever had interest in these companies that produce sugar.
Yeah. The sugar lobby.
That they legitimately were like, fat is the enemy. So we have to stop eating fat.
That's been going on for decades.
So in the 90s, I know it was really big, because that's when they started coming out with things that you wouldn't even be. They'd be like low fat cottage cheese. Well, how? Yeah. How could it possibly be? How could this be this? And there's actually a doctor that's real. I'll send you the link for him. But there's a doctor that fought against that. Was like, it's not the fat. No, it's the sugar is causing all that. And the people were like he got berated. Like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about.
They're anti-fat and anti-salt, which salt and fat are good for you.
So it's like this huge stigma. People still think today it's like, I need to eat. Now, that doesn't mean you should be like, well, Dusty said, he's like donuts all day. But the sugar is the problem. And people eat
the sugar is the problem.
Huge amounts of sugar.
Especially the refined sugars.
Mm-hmm. And people really I think if you people like my mom's age, they still feel that way. They're like, oh, it's low fat. It's well, yeah, but it has 50 grams of sugar. Yeah. My mom would legitimately be like, I ate a bag of Swedish fish last night as a snack. And I was like, my God, that's terrible for you. She's like, it's low fat.
That's loaded with seed oils and a bunch of sugars. Like the worst things for you.
It has the most sugar ever. She's like, but it's low fat. I was like, I'd rather eat a stick of butter.
Yeah.
Than eat a whole bag of Swedish fish. She's like, no, it's low fat. Because she grew up in that time where they were literally telling
they replaced butter with margarine.
Margarine,
horrible for you.
Yep.
Absolutely horrible for you.
And now people are like, now we're finally getting to the truth of it. People are like, my God, we've been lied to for. It's like when they the big tobacco were in Congress and they were like, we swear it doesn't cause cancer.
Yeah.
We have no knowledge. And they were like, well, it does cause cancer. It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
So, Adam, I hope you enjoyed that episode.
I did. It was good. It was a good memory lane.
Yeah, it was
You
good.
didn't mention jazzercise, though.
I didn't.
Yeah.
It is on one of my other lists.
Okay.
Jazzercise. We could do a whole episode on jazzercise.
Maybe we could demo it. I don't
Do
know.
you guys want to see us do some jazzercise?
I can't dance.
I mean, we can get James in here to do it.
James
can dance.
Yeah.
We hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Absolutely.
A little different. Adam, I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
You got to
Absolutely.
hear my very long story. So guys, keep your eyes out for our new shirts.
Yeah.
And some new apparel coming your way. Please like and subscribe. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to your
Google
podcast.
Play, Amazon.
Google Play, everywhere. Like us and subscribe to us on all those platforms. We're going to keep hitting you. We're going to have some guests soon.
Yes.
We have some people already scheduled, so stay tuned for those.
Very interesting guests.
Really great guests. We're pretty excited about them all. So keep listening. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want us to answer or talk about, I know a couple people have already done that. We're working on those. Keep the questions coming, and we appreciate you guys.
All right. Thanks.
Until next time. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.